Meet the Hellcat, the F6F, a single-engine, semi-low-wing combat airplane equipped for use on Navy aircraft carriers or as a land-based fighter. As the ground crew prepare to start the engine, they follow a carefully planned routine that should be understood by all pilots. After the mechanic in the cockpit signals that the ignition and starter switches are off, the prop is pulled through 3 or 4 revs in the direction of rotation to clear the cylinders. A live cartridge is placed in the breech of the starter. And after locking the breech, the mech secures the access door. Cowl flaps are open, as they should be for all ground operations. Carburetor air directs manually. The plane captain is careful to see that no crew member is on the wing stub, and that the man in the cockpit keeps his arms inside. These precautions will avoid possible injury. With engine running, the hydraulic system pressure gauge should show a pressure of 1,500 pounds per square inch. This pressure is necessary to engage the wing locking pins and operate the safety locks. After the wing folding hydraulic valve control has been set to lock, the outer wing panels are swung forward to join the wing stubs. Then the safety lock is pushed down and to the right, mechanically locking the wing hinge pins. As this locking operation is completed, the red indicating cylinder on the wing recedes until it is flush with the surface. There's nothing unorthodox in the proportions and appearance of the F6F. Likewise, there is nothing unorthodox in her flying characteristics. In fact, experienced pilots say that she flies like a trainer. At service loading, she has a gross weight of about 12,000 pounds, but her 2,000 horsepower double-row Wasp engine endows this airplane with unusual speed and climbing ability. The landing gear is sturdily built to take the shock of carrier landings, and the wheels are widely spaced to give maximum directional control. When you man this airplane for the first time, bear in mind that you are about to fly a fighter equipped with an engine which will develop 2,000 horsepower. You must have an intimate working knowledge of all her instruments and controls, and know how to get the most out of her powerful engine within the prescribed limits of operations. Use of the safety shoulder straps is mandatory in this airplane at all times. Adjust your seat so that you have proper vision through the reflector sight on the instrument cowl. And be sure the rudder pedals are adjusted to suit your leg length in order to give you full positive control. Before you leave the line, increase manifold pressure to about 30 inches and check your mags by moving the ignition switch so that the engine operates momentarily on each magneto. A drop of 75 to 100 RPM is considered normal, but if RPM loss exceeds this, malfunctioning is indicated. The hydromatic constant speed propeller should be checked at an engine speed of approximately 1,800 RPM. Pull up the prop control to the full low RPM position and observe the tachometer, which should show a loss of approximately 500 RPM. Then return the prop control to the takeoff RPM position, and if the RPM returns to its original value, proper operation of the prop is indicated. For close adjustments, turn the vernier clockwise to decrease RPM and counterclockwise to increase the RPM. In order to prevent an accumulation of sludge in the blower clutches and to check on the operation of the auxiliary blower, set the throttle to give an engine speed of 1,400 RPM. With prop in full low pitch and mixture control in auto range. Shift blower control quickly from neutral to low auxiliary stage. And when instruments have stabilized, you will notice slight increase in manifold pressure and engine RPM, accompanied by a slight drop in oil pressure. A further shift of the blower control from low to high should be followed by another small increase in manifold pressure and engine RPM, but oil pressure will remain fairly constant. Be sure and return control to neutral in one quick positive move. Finally, check your ammeter to be sure the generator is charging properly, and don't leave the line unless it is. And don't forget to unlock your tail wheel. As you taxi out on the field, don't exceed 1,000 RPM. Use your rudder to maintain direction and avoid overuse of the brakes. Visibility from the cockpit is excellent. There is little need of S-turning to see ahead. As you make sharp turns, try to keep the inside wheel moving a bit in order to avoid rubbing off the tread. When you arrive at the takeoff spot, let the plane roll straight forward a few yards to align the tail wheel. Go through the check-off list carefully and deliberately. Don't trust to memory. Follow the list item by item. Wings locked. The red indicator will be retracted flush with the surface. Gas tanks full, giving you a fuel load of 253 gallons. 87½ gallons in each of the two main tanks and 78 gallons in the reserve tanks. Mixture control, automatic winch. Blower locked in neutral. Prop control set for takeoff RPM. Electric fuel booster pump on. Cowl flaps open as necessary. Elevator tab neutral. Rudder tab 1½ degrees right. Aileron tab neutral. Tail wheel locked. Wing flaps up. You can't gun this engine to full takeoff RPM and manifold pressure while holding the plane with the brakes. If you exceed 2,000 RPM, the tail will lift and you'll risk nosing over. Start your takeoff by easing the throttle forward until you have 45 to 50 inches of manifold pressure. This is ample power to fly you off, but you can pull up to 54 inches if necessary. The F6F has very little tendency to swerve and will fly yourself off at a speed of about 60 knots. Now let's go back and try a carrier takeoff with flaps down to give a shorter run and a quick positive lift. The flaps are electrically controlled and have no intermediate positions. The control switch is pulled back to lower the flaps and pushed forward to retract them. If the electrical control fails, you can manipulate the flaps manually. Be sure the handle is depressed before moving the lever. If necessary, use the hand hydraulic pump at the right of your seat. Safely airborne, 500 feet or more, retract your landing gear and bring up the flaps.